Okay, so in the final matches in Group B, Germany were playing Finland. They won that game 3-0, but the real important game of the night was between Denmark and Spain to figure out who would be finishing second in the group. Now, Denmark needed to win, Spain needed to draw. It took until the 90th minute for the only goal of the game, and it went to Spain. Spain made hard work of that, considering the amount of possession they had, the amount of chances they created, and also they looked exceptionally vulnerable at the back on the counter-attack. They have a very narrow high line, so you can get at Spain. They got away with it against a Danish side that hasn't really inspired me watching them in this tournament. In fact, a lot of the Scandinavian sides have actually disappointed me a little bit. So it's only Iceland and Sweden left to carry the Scandinavian flags forward. Denmark, they weren't great. They were overly defensive in their setup. They started with 5 at the back, and they just invited Spain onto them with their tactics. Had they gone with a more balanced setup, yes, the game was more open, but I think they would have had more possession and more chances themselves. Spain, however, they did make heavy weather of it. They're trying to score the perfect goal all the time, and you can't do that. You can never. It's very rare that you just get everything going perfect at the top level. On the training ground, yeah, sure. In an actual game, conditions can change. You've got the opposition actively going at you 100%, and that I think is the fault with Spain is they don't have a plan B, and they try and score the perfect goal in every attack. It just doesn't happen like that. I didn't see enough clinical of a clinical nature from Spain to have me worried with how England have played so far, but knockout football is different than group stage football, and we were here in 1996 back in the day when the men hosted the Euros and knocked Spain out on a penalty shootout. But Spain, for me, while they win the game, and it's Cardona's goal is brilliant, the cross is brilliant, but it took 90 minutes to get to this point. And for all that possession and the controlling of the pace of the game, they did make heavy work of the game. They didn't even need to win. Denmark were the side that needed to win, and Denmark didn't look like they wanted to win the game either. And while Spain created a lot of chances and had 70-75% of the possession, at some points in 5-minute spells it would be 80-90% of the possession. It's all well and good having that, but if you can't do anything with it, the likelihood is the opposition will do a smash and grab. And it was only in the last 15-20 minutes that Denmark decided to come out and play. And switch to 4 at the back, which I think they should have started with. With a game you've got to win, you've just got to go for broke, and they didn't do that. And ultimately, that's cost Denmark tonight. Is they didn't just go hell for leather and go, right, well, we're the underdogs here. Spain are the ones in pole position. Let's just go for it. Denmark played within themselves. They played too conservative, and they were poor in the first game against the Germans, but they were poor again tonight with some of the quality that they have. Disappointing, quite frankly. Spain, with all the possession they had, I was actually disappointed a little bit. They could have had 3, 4, 5, 6 goals, really, with some of the chances they were creating. If that's England, if that's Germany, if that's France, those opportunities go in. So I think Spain are lacking something up front. The penetration isn't there. The middle third and the entering the final third of the field is great. Defensively, they are suspect, and they waste and squander too many chances, which another side would take because they're obsessed with scoring the perfect goal. But they get the win, which is important. But they weren't overly convincing, and they did waste a lot of chances, considering that they had around averaging out about 75% possession, come away with just 1 goal. That's the flaw with the tiki-taka model. And a lot of the time when they have possession, they're playing in front of the Danish defence. They're not penetrating with runs. They don't play with a number 9 or an out-and-out 10 or an out-and-out 11 or like an out-and-out striker like other nations do. They play with a false 9. And if you're playing in front and wasting chances, you can get caught on the counter-attack. And as I said, defensively, when Denmark decided to try and counter-attack, Spain looked very narrow and very high. so it's easy to get round them in the wide areas and easy for a ball in over the top if you've got pace. England have the ability in the wide areas and up front with pace. Spain need to up their game. They need to, if they are going to have a lot of possession, it needs to be penetrative possession. They need to make runs in behind. They can't just play in front of the back four, the back five, the back three, depending on how the opposition's set up. They need to have runners making the runs, and they didn't do that. They're trying to pass the ball into the back of the net, which is a flaw of the Spanish system. And when it does get frustrating, they leave themselves open to the counter-attack, defending too high, and tuning off at the back. That is a big issue with them. And Germany punished them in the last game. Finland took the lead against them in the first game, and they had to come from behind and they laboured in that game as well. Spain do not score a lot of goals. And defensively, they have been found wanting in the previous two games with conceding sloppy goals that they shouldn't be conceding. So there we go. While Spain win the game, I'm not overly convinced with this Spanish performance, even with the possession stats in their favour, because the Danes were so negative and so poor in the group stage. That's my opinion of comparing them to England, to Germany, to the French. You know, I do think going forward in possession, they're fine, controlling the tempo and possession. They're lacking that cutting edge up front, and defensively they're suspect. So if they do get through, they need to past England in the quarterfinals. They need to really sharpen up in a lot of areas. They get the middle third right. They're not getting the attacking final product, and they're not getting the defending right. That's what I've taken out of Spain so far, looking at them play. The Barcelona tiki-taki style is a flawed system, in my opinion. It's had its day. It's easily solved by an organised defence. And if you are lacking that striking power up front, you are relying on multiple midfielders to just pass it around. You need runs indeed. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Spain can really threaten England, or are Spain playing a flawed system? Because I think they're playing a flawed system myself. I think defensively they are suspect, and I think England will deal better with the Spanish side than with the Danish side should the Danes have got through and progressed. That was my opinion last night. I stick with that. While Spain have won the game, I was disappointed in the Danes, and I was disappointed with the wastefulness of the Spanish side, considering all the possession and chances created. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.